Hey everyone, it's Talon again. In my last video, I shared 5 tips on how to improve your tanking in M+. And as we're preparing for Shadowlands, I wanted to take some of these tips and break them down individually, giving a little more specific insight into the tanking role and how we can grow together in our skill. So in this video, I will be talking about add-ons. I'll be going over some specific add-ons that I use, but more importantly, why I use them and what I'm trying to achieve from them. Because I don't expect you guys to copy my add-ons exactly. If you find a different add-on that does the same thing that you like better, then do that. Use what works best for you and what makes your gameplay most enjoyable. We'll also be suggesting where to place these on your screen, whether they're more in view or further away, depending on the importance of the add-on. And so with that said, let's get into some helpful add-ons. The first add-on I want to mention is WeakAuras. I'm sure most of you are familiar with WeakAuras, but if you're not, I highly suggest getting this powerful add-on and start tailoring it to your class and gameplay. WeakAuras is going to help you easily see and track important cast, buffs, debuffs, interrupts, and abilities. We don't want to be looking at the bottom of our screen for our abilities or the top for our buffs and debuffs. We want all our focus to be on our character and what's going on around us, so we're not getting caught standing in bad, getting hit by things. So being able to have a WeakAura just off to the side or below your characters will really help us be more aware of what's actually going on. Essentially, WeakAuras is an add-on that acts as a container for specific WeakAuras that people have created. And so you can find a whole library of WeakAuras that people have created over at wago.io, but here are some of the that I find most helpful. First off, get a WeakAura that shows your specific class abilities and CDs and place this right under your character. The key here is to see your important abilities at a glance. These WeakAura packages will generally have your main abilities centered, it'll have your resource bar right there, and then all your longer CDs grouped in meaningful ways. They'll show you how long they're active, and they'll track how long they're on cooldown. I think it's invaluable to know things like how long shield blocks up for you, so you don't overlap, waste charges, waste resources. You know, like maybe how many charges of bone shield you still have left, all those things. A couple tips with this one: find one that places abilities in a way that makes sense to you. And this may be a small thing, but let me give you an example. For instance, I have shield block bound to my Q, which is more on the left side of my keyboard, and shield slam bound to my 3 key, which is more on the right. And so I have shield block displayed on the left and of my WeakAura, and shield slam more towards the right. And it just helps my brain get used to it a little bit better. You know, it may sound a little weird, but sometimes some WeakAuras have felt weird to me, and it's just been the placement of where they are. And so finding ones that make that placement where you can easily just move the WeakAuras around a little bit, and this will really help make that just be a lot smoother transition into going into using these WeakAuras. So for this type of WeakAura to be most useful, get used to looking at the WeakAura and not your actual bars. Remember, the point is to get your eyes more centered on your toon, not looking away from the action. So you can utilize bar add-ons like LVY or Dominoes to simply move your bars from the bottom of the screen more towards the center. But I find that WeakAura packs tend to have more useful information on top of having your abilities more centered. Now there's one other thing I suggest to this, and this is going to feel really uncomfortable at first, but trust me, it's worth it. As you're getting used to looking at this WeakAura, I suggest you hide your bars. I've used these type of WeakAuras for a really long time, and I will still look at my bars if they're not hidden. You know, looking at your bars way down at the bottom of the screen, or even if they're up a little bit more and it's closer to the center, it defeats the purpose of having this type of WeakAura. So just work through it and learn to use your main WeakAura to see what you need to see. So a couple other important WeakAuras. First is going to be an interrupt tracker. This is going to show you which party members have their interrupt available and who has theirs on cooldown and for how long. So even if you're not on voice with your party, this is still going to give you some pretty valuable information for interrupts, but even more so if you're in a group on Discord. This is going to allow you to organize kicks, minimizing damage, which enables you to pull more mobs, kill things faster. So I suggest that placement for this WeakAura should be just off to the side. I like mine on the right. I mean, you could put yours over here too, whatever, but you can see that it'll show my interrupt ready. You can hit interrupt and it'll show me the timer. Now this is super useful for me as the tank. I'm the one who calls the interrupt orders, or when we're calling interrupts. And so this is really going to help me just to see at a quick glance whose is ready and whose is not. Another WeakAura that we have talked about before is a party CD add-on, which is going to give you the ability to see your party's cooldowns in a glance. When we talked about this, we talked about how being aware of your party's damage and healing CDs is really going to help us know if we can pull a little bit more aggressively if they have their big CDs ready or not. And so the one I use attaches to the frames by default. I have mine way down here. Now this is a little further out of my eyesight from the center, but as I've learned to use this, and I suggest to you just find one ability that you want to find, and you'll know just what the picture looks like, and it just takes a quick glance to find it. Now when we're talking about our party CDs, I do want to mention that I like to separate my healer CDs out from the other CDs just because of how important the healer's externals are for us as we're tanking in M+. And so I utilize Exorcist raid tools to do this, and this add-on does way more than just show CDs, but since I already use it for raid, I've just used it to modify for my healer CDs. And so I just have my healer CDs right here so I can know at a quick glance when that external is ready and when it's not. All right, moving on to the next add-on, I utilize big wigs and then little wigs for their dungeon package. This is going to help you see all the boss abilities on a timer and give you warnings when important or dangerous casts are incoming. So I prefer little wigs over DBM because the sounds and overall UI are less intrusive to me, but hey, if you prefer DBM, then absolutely use that. For placement of these, I place my timers above my characters to the right and to the left, over here, and then the main ones when the casts are done down in the center, and then any other information that's a little less important goes further away from my screen. Obviously, it's going to be super important for us to know when the big abilities come in, if we need to move the boss, if we need to have a defensive ready and things like that, so the timers are really going to help us to know when we need to have something ready. And the last add-on type I want to mention and suggest to you is a nameplate add-on. So I use Plater, but there are a slew of nameplate add-ons out there, so find one that you like and go for it. What's important for me to have in one of these add-ons is knowing, one, which targets are aggroed to me and which are not. For me, if they're attacking me, they're going to be blue. Yellow if I'm losing aggro, and red if they're aggroed to somebody else. So this is going to help me to know if I need to taunt and add off someone, if I need to save them to avoid a random party death. If I'm losing aggro, I can maybe focus that one a little bit more. And so having the aggro and the threat tables on those is super important. Also in this add-on, it allows me to have my specific targets nameplate larger than all the others, so I don't interrupt or otherwise CC the wrong ad. And lastly, this add-on will enable you to modify which buffs and debuffs are shown on the nameplate so that I'll know that if a big buff goes off that massively empowers a mob, I'll know how to react with a defensive or ask for a purge. I can communicate to the healer that I need some extra help, or I can just be able to know when that's coming in. But whichever nameplate add-on you use, definitely move away from the stock nameplates and use an add-on that's going to actually show you all the information that you need in a useful and helpful way. So there you have it. Those are my most recommended add-ons for tanking in Mythic Plus. Let me know your thoughts on the video. If this helps you, or if you have any add-ons that have helped you out, let me know in the comments below. Just a reminder, I do stream on Twitch every Tuesday and Thursday morning, and also Friday nights. So if you have any questions about this video or any of the add-ons, please come stop by. If you want to just come say, hey, come hang out. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. It really helps the channel out. And I will be coming out with other videos on tanking in M+. But until then, guys, thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon.